How much of a setback is it that Daniel Sturridge has been ruled out of the Moldova game?
Well, we've not exactly been lucky, have we? I mean, it's not only Daniel, it's Wayne, and it was our two potential right backs in Glenn Johnson and Phil Jones, and before that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So we have lost 5 players that a couple of weeks ago I was really banking on. But it's a great opportunity, you know, it's a cliche, but it is an opportunity for the ones that maybe wouldn't have got a game had they been available, and it's up to them now to do the job.
What chance does Daniel have of being fit for the game in Ukraine?
Well, he's worked hard at his treatment. The initial prognosis was that he wouldn't be fit for either of them. We didn't accept that, he didn't accept that either, so he's worked very hard to try and have the necessary treatment, but I would think it'll be touch and go, and we won't know until Sunday morning when he reports back on Saturday evening, and Sunday morning we'll have a training session before we leave for the Ukraine, and if he passes it, he'll be with us, and if he doesn't, then he'll be staying with Liverpool.
Are there any other injury concerns at the moment, right?
Stephen Corker, unfortunately, in training turned his ankle. It's not a very serious matter, but it will keep him out of the game tomorrow night, but it won't keep him out of the Ukraine game. He's expecting to do some running tomorrow evening after the game with the players who don't play, but he won't be on the bench tomorrow night.
Are you thinking of sending for reinforcements?
No, we've got, in fact, I mean, to be honest, we've got too many players. We've only allowed 20 outfield players and 3 goalkeepers, and with Stephen Corker and Daniel Sturridge, it would have been 22, so they've been kind enough to take the decision out of my hands.
Are you looking at virtually separate teams for the Moldova at home game and the Ukraine away match?
No.
Care to elaborate on that?
I don't know how you can elaborate. I mean, basically, no, I'm not. I mean, I think these 4 games were of vital importance. I mean, I don't subscribe to that theory that this is an easy one and this is a difficult one, and then you've got a fairly easy one or a fairly difficult one. I don't quantify or qualify games in that way. I mean, Moldova, after our initial victory against them, when I thought we played very well, and it was their first game as well, I don't know whether we took them by surprise, but we had a very good win, but since that time they've proven very, very hard to beat. And we know they're going to be very hard to beat tomorrow night, and we're going to need to be at our best to do it. And I need my best players, or what I think are the best players, to enable me to do that. And I'm expecting, you know, players like Stephen here, they play 3 times a week all through the season. It would just be up to us to make certain that after playing the game they recover.
What do you expect you'll need from those 4 games, Roy, to make sure of qualification?
I would say 10 points, as long as we don't lose in Ukraine and we beat Montenegro. Then I think 10 points would see us even mathematically certain. I don't know, I haven't been doing a lot of mathematical work. I leave the statistics and the mathematics to you guys. I was never good at that at school. Mathematics was never my subject, I'm afraid.
What did you make of your chairman's speech yesterday, Roy, setting out his vision for the England team for the future?
I saw it.
Is it similar to your own vision?
Of course I endorse the things he says, but the thing is, I saw the speech before he gave it. I haven't actually seen him give it, and I haven't totally followed all of the responses to it. I guess there'll be a lot of response to it, as there should be. But quite honestly, as far as Stephen and I are concerned, and that goes for the rest of the players, you know, we've only got one focus. You know, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that we shouldn't think about English football and what's good for English football and how the FA can collaborate better with the Premier League. Of course, I endorse all of those things. But our concern is, can we beat Moldova tomorrow night, and then can we get the point or the points we need in the Ukraine? And quite frankly, that's all I'm thinking about, and you know, really all I'm prepared to talk about as well. Not just with you, the press, but don't worry, I'll be saying exactly the same thing to the written press. So I'm not holding out for the TVs, as it were.
Could I though just ask you your thoughts on Greg's targets of England winning the World Cup in 2022 and reaching the semi-finals at Euro 2020?
No, I don't have any thoughts on that. I mean, I presume if you're going to give the type of speech he gave, it's quite intelligent to have some sort of targets to reach. I just fear that 2022 might be a bit too far in the distance for me anyway. Steve thinks the same of him.
But he also did say today that he didn't think many people seriously thought England would win the World Cup in 2014. I mean, what are your views on that?
Well, I mean, what bothers me at the moment is not whether we're going to win the World Cup. What bothers me is making certain we give the performances in the next 4 games that are going to get us to the World Cup. When we're there, then we'll start trying to set about winning it.
I echo what the manager says, really. I don't really want to get involved in a worldwide debate about English football. It's not the right time for that, maybe further down the line. I can answer your question in more detail, but for me it's 6 points is on my mind, and getting to this next World Cup is my priority. I won't be around for them World Cups, as everyone knows. I'll be at home like a fan like yourself.
Daniel Sturridge has been cracking form for you this season so far. I mean, is that the real shame of his being injured? He was in prime form, wasn't he?
Yeah, it is a shame for Daniel. You know, the stage is set for him to come and shine on the international stage as well, and you know, fingers crossed he can come back on Saturday evening and the injuries settle down and he's available for Tuesday, because he certainly makes the squad a lot stronger. We're certainly after a strong performance. That's what we're here, and that's the job we need to do. But it won't be to prove any individuals wrong. It'll be to try and lift the nation and make the supporters happy. That's the most important thing to us.
And as one of the biggest English names in the Premier League, do you think the Premier League does enough to foster English talent to make Roy's job easier in the future when it comes to selection?
I think that's a question the manager would have to ask, to be honest. I'm sure he'd want the figures of English players to pick from even more, but I think the quality in the squad at the moment is fantastic, and I think he's really happy with how the team have prepared for this game tomorrow, and we're all in confident mood.